Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are going to talk about a comment that we received from Juan and just some of our thoughts surrounding his comment.
Listen here, man. Juan wrote us. This has been a great week of deep dives for Married at First Sight alone. Listen here. I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment. All the above. We did a video titled Juan is down at the Reddit begging for our votes, right? To where he's down there basically. I think he enters some type of contest to where if he wins, he can be I think he wins a slot in Forbes or something like that. Forbes magazine, and like a prize of like $25,000 for being an entrepreneur and things like that. And he came down to the Reddit asking the Married at First Sight community to vote for him and things like that. And we had our thoughts about that. You should check that video out. I'll put that in the description. And he wrote us back on that video literally like a day ago. So we're going to respond back in video form. And let's get back to it, because I want to involve just not Blair in the conversation, but let's involve our friends into the conversation. You ready, Blair?
I'm ready.
Blair's going to read all of this for us because this is a lot. But we go touch each line bar for bar. You ready, Blair?
Yes.
Walk us through this, please.
Hi, guys. First off, thank you for taking the time to put this together. I openly received the criticism, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I hear you all feel like I robbed Carla of an opportunity, but I challenge you all to look at it from another perspective, which I'm willing to. I'm willing to look at it from another perspective.
We're fair.
Yeah.
We're fair.
I'm willing to hear you out, Juan.
Blair's more fair than me.
I signed up for a social experiment called Married at First Sight, which is literally how they market the show, a social experiment.
Okay.
So basically, the premise of the show is to get married to a complete stranger who the experts match you with. You live with that stranger for 8 weeks and get to know them to see if there's enough there to continue on a marriage, which is exactly what I did. There's no contractual obligation stating that you have to respect, love, cherish, change, etc. that person. Every person that signs up for the experiment handles it however they choose.
Okay, thank you for telling us the premise of Married at First Sight. It only been 18 seasons. You get what I'm saying? But guess what? I'm following you so far, Juan.
When I signed up, I had been single for 2 years. I saw they were doing the casting for the Chicago season, so I thought it would be an interesting way to potentially meet the love of my life. But again, I reiterate what I said on Reddit. This is a reality TV show, and the company that produces the show is a for-profit company, for-profit entity. This show is made for ratings, so I wasn't going to be hung up if they didn't match me, as you can clearly see from other participants season after season, which is why I chose to make the best of the experience regardless of what was thrown at me.
Now, this is where the cart started getting a little shaky for me when Juan was talking, right? Because even though you're trying to compare season by season rather, and you're over here talking about its ratings, you did sign up for this show and you did know the premise of the show outside of it just being a social experiment. The whole idea is that you get married to someone, and there is a seriousness to getting married to someone than just the ratings and the social experiment part of it. So this is where I'm like, okay, where are you going with this, Juan? You get what I'm saying? Because I'm like, okay, so far I'm following you, but you're following, but now you're leading me down an alley.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? And now I feel like you're about to jump me or something like that. You get what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
I'd like to dig into the comment that I robbed Carla of the experience. I have no issues with Carla. Like I said on Reddit, I think the world of Carla and her family and wish her nothing but the best.
Okay.
With that said, if you look at it from a different perspective, I didn't rob Carla of anything, and she also didn't rob me of anything. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. My focus was not on the physical, because I know that beauty isn't enough to get anyone past one night.
Okay.
Plus, if I was or gel anyone past one night. Plus, if I was just looking for someone beautiful, believe me, I've never had an issue, even with a bald spot. So I wouldn't have even went on MAFS. When I saw Carla, yes, I thought she was beautiful. She has a nice face and eyes, but physically she's not my type. So I continued forward to get to know the rest of her.
Okay.
As I got to know Carla, I noticed she was really into crystals, burning Palo Santo, astrology, cards, hugging trees, things that I'm just not into. Just because my brother does tarot card reading doesn't mean that I need to like that lifestyle. My mother is a diehard Catholic, doesn't define me either.
Okay.
Next thing I noticed was that she let her lease run out, and I actually helped her move all her stuff to the storage unit. That's some tea. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
I get it because she saved on rent, but for the purpose of the experiment, showing responsibility and stability, not the best move.
I agree.
I also noticed that Carla didn't own a car, which I was like, okay, whatever, but I guess I'll be driving. Again, I continued forward without judgment and conducting myself with respect. Then a week later, Carla gets let go from a salon she was working at because she didn't see eye to eye with the owner. Again, not the best look when you're trying to show a complete stranger that you're worth a long-term investment of time, love, and energy.
Mm-hmm.
As we continued to live together, I noticed that my spouse didn't really care for cooking as I did all of the cooking.
Yeah.
In one of the episodes, you can actually see how she didn't know how to turn on a gas oven. I also did 75% of the cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. I moved on respectfully, getting to know her. Lastly, we spent a lot of time together and there was a lot you all didn't see, but I was turned off by her attitude behind scenes.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Now, that's a lot to digest, Blair. You're doing an excellent job reading for us.
Thank you.
Right? What is your thoughts just on basically everything that we read so far? Which angle you want to attack first? Do you want to attack what he's saying about Carla? Do you want to talk about how he basically like she's not my type? Like what is your view on this so far?
Start from the top.
Start from the top.
From the tippy top.
Top. Okay.
So, which my sign says, what does marriage mean to you?
That is true.
I think that it really comes as a different in perspective when it comes to getting married for a television show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of the people that go on to Married at First Sight look at getting married as an actual marriage to actually try to make this thing work.
Yeah.
The way that Juan talks about the experience or the experiment, which it is a social experiment.
Yes.
And that is something we talked about in one of our other deep dives of basically this being a social experiment. So because of that, is it really on the contestants' fault necessarily if the situation doesn't work out, because it is a type of an experiment.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think it is on the contestants to try to make the marriage a reality.
Yeah.
And part of making a marriage a reality is communicating with your partner about the things that are working and the things that are not working. He's going through, a laundry list of things that made him feel like Carla probably wasn't the person for him.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I totally understand that you met this stranger. Maybe it just isn't your person. It's not going to work out. That's fine. But the marriage part of it entails that you go the extra effort to try to make it work.
Yes.
And the extra effort means telling the person, hey, you don't know how to turn on a gas oven? Here, let me show you.
Yes.
Hey, you don't cook or you don't clean? Instead of me sitting back and just noticing those things, hey, are you doing okay? Do you normally cook at home? Is this something that I can help you learn how to do?
Cook with me.
Exactly. Cook with me. Even when it goes to, her storage unit situation, as well as the her losing her job. The conversations that Juan had with her about her job was basically, okay, how are you going to make money? How are you going to, get back on your feet? Which are all good things, but at the same time, it doesn't address you as her partner of how does that affect you in the dynamic of your relationship. So I felt like the conversations were lacking. I felt like if that was a hurdle, then why not bring it to the experts to say, this is something I'm having a hard time getting over.
Yeah.
I understand that she's my wife that you guys chose for me, but this is a sore spot for me, and I'm not sure if I can get past this. And I agree with him. Carla showed a lot of ways a lack of stability, and for a lot of people that would turn them off. So that's why I'm not faulting him for feeling how he feels about her or the match, or if it really could have been a long-term situation. And I do think that he handled the experiment or the marriage with dignity and kindness, but I think it was lacking in the part of actually going the extra effort to see if this thing could work.
Being committed to the process.
Being committed to being married and making the marriage work. So
to your point, just to be clear, based on what I understand, what I think I understand what my wife is saying, we're not judging you by your answer at the end of the 8-week experiment. Like you can say you can say no and get divorced, but think of that movie Hitch, that movie with Hitch with Will Smith, right? I know that's not one of your favorite movies no more, Blair, because you saw it about 1,000 times, right?
Yeah, I love that movie.
But if I say let's watch Hitch right now, you'd be like, okay, I already seen it 2000.
I've been through it.
Okay, right?
100,000 times.
The thing about Hitch, which was the premise of that movie and things of that nature, was Will Smith's role. He said his role was to get the person out of their own way, right, to where they can actually have a chance of falling in love and things like that. Because many times or not, we may get in our own way. Right here, it sounds to me that even though you have the freedom to say no at the end of 6 to 8 weeks, they already match you with a wife. You don't get to have a choice in the matter of, well, this ain't my type, or I get to see if this is my type. This is your wife now. Your job when you come on, or when you came on Married at First Sight, was to show up 100% as a husband. Guess what? You should have known that, okay, I'm not picking my wife. That doesn't mean that the experts is going to pick someone that's 100% for me, right, and things like that. That it's 100% my type and things of that nature. Okay, I understand that she let her leash run out. I understand that like she into astrology and all these things, which would make me question a lot of things when it comes to the whole, like, what is your type and things of that nature. Because I'm thinking like that got to be one of the questionnaires on the get on the show. And if she's 100% not your type, I got to go at the process of like, okay, then why y'all just matching random people? But that's a whole different question for like another day. But my thing is, it just seems like you was finding more reasons and more reasons of why you cannot, besides finding reasons why you can. Right. And my whole thing is, if you're viewing it from the whole idea, oh, it's just a social experiment, like, you know, it's not really like a marriage and things like that, then of course you're going to have all these things of what's wrong with her. And the thing about it is, you're going to find somebody who is not into all these things that Carla into, and guess what? They're going to have other issues. Right. And my thing is, are you going to take it as serious? When marriage is a very serious thing, especially since it's only 6 to 8 weeks, you still have your no at the end of it if you want to say no. But the whole process of acting like you're trying, the whole process of acting like you're in it fully, when whole time you gave me a whole bunch of things that I didn't hear you say to Dr. Pepper. You gave me a whole bunch of things that I didn't hear you say to Dr. Pia. You gave me a whole bunch of things that I did not hear you say to Pastor Cal.
Or Carla.
For
that matter. For her to adjust.
I'm sorry. You know? Except for the last day where he was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that the spirituality thing wasn't all you, but that was the last day. Yeah. So all these things is, hey, I have a problem with all these things. I have a problem with your attitude behind the scenes and things of that nature. Because that's what marriage and relationship is about. Let us see conflict and resolve, right?
Exactly.
Let us see, oh, I don't really like this thing about you, or you don't like this thing about me. How can we still function in this whole relationship? Not only social experiment, as much as it is a social experiment, it is still a real marriage.
And just to add to that, you know, I would compare it to, since we're, you know, talking about the same season, of David going along to get along and acting like everything Michelle was doing was fine. And he was just along for the ride and going to put in the work to make it work. If Michelle is talking to David crazy, why would David not say, Michelle, stop talking to me crazy?
Come on.
But I think it might be a bigger issue of kind of like the times with reality TV. We've even seen a lot of the guy contestants on Love is Blind. Like, people just want to come across nice and amicable, and just go with the flow and easy to get along with, which that's not real life, especially when you're trying to do marriage and a relationship with someone. Like you said, there's conflict and there's resolve. There's, I'm not really fooling with this. Can we have a talk about it? Is this something we can work through? And as much as the show like makes you guys try to bring up issues in your relationship, it seemed like Carla was the main one bringing up a lot of issues as far as the affection and, you know, being close and all that type of stuff. And Juan pretty much gave her a, well, you know, I just got to get time to get there. But if there were actual reasons why you couldn't get there, that was something that was lost, or something that she was cheated out of getting the information, so that way she could change or improve on those things that you were struggling with. So, and
that's what I mean when I say robbed of the experience. Not only am I saying you rob Carla, you rob yourself. To see someone more than the tree hugger. To see someone that doesn't clean that much. Trust me, those are things that can be talked about and fixed.
Right. And then by the end of the 8 weeks, like you said,
you can still say no.
You can still say no.
Exactly. So you left off at, I'm sure Carla would come up with a laundry list.
Yeah, I'm sure Carla could come up with a laundry list of things she didn't like about me. And I'm totally okay with that. I'm not perfect. But again, the reason we both said no on decision day. Why wasn't I intimate with Carla? For starters, I'm not desperate. I don't need to go on a show to get laid. Secondly, I did care about Carla's feelings, and allowing myself to be intimate with Carla without feeling anything at all would have complicated complicated things between her and I. Also because that just wasn't my focus. If I'm not emotionally, intellectually, or spiritually into you, trust me, I'm not going to be physically into you.
I'm not hating on that.
The only comment that I really have to that paragraph is that intimacy isn't just sex.
That is facts.
And I think that Carla made it pretty clear that she was looking for different ways of affection.
A handhold,
a hug, something more than like a pat on the back. All right, bud.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like something that showed that. And I understand if he has a block or a wall to where he couldn't get intimate with her. Nobody's saying that you guys have to get freaky deaky down to the lifetime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you're in a marriage and you're actively working to build the foundation, physical affection is part of it. I mean, which actually surprised me in this season, because in other seasons they've had exercises to where they've had touch and hug and all that type of stuff to really build that. For them, they had the tantric tantric experience that Juan made a joke out of.
You was definitely goofy.
So I'm just kind of like, there were opportunities to build on the physical affection or physical intimacy without taking it to sex or even kissing. And I think that that's something that was lost. You know?
And I think this is just an example of you getting in your own way, of you trying to produce yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, y'all are married, right? As much as you want to say it will complicate things and not complicate things, again, I reiterate, I'm not criticizing both of y'all for y'all decision to say no at the end. That's the ultimate freedom y'all have at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But my thing is, you gave me all the reasons of why you was not into Carla, yet I watched all 2,000 episodes of this season, and you told me more in this 8-paragraph comment than I've seen in those 2,000 episodes. Why?
Yeah.
Like it just shows that you was going along to get along and calling it respect. And calling it being kind and things of that nature. Whole time, if your wife is telling you, not the person you're dating and not the person you're trying to see if you can get along, if your wife is telling you this is what intimacy is to me, holding hands and things of that nature, and all you can think about is, well, I just help you move your stuff into a storage unit and things like that. Well, you're talking about nice and compassion and all these things. I heard you say out your mouth, this wasn't edited, this was out your mouth, that we could take your stuff and put on Facebook Market. That's not compassion. So if you do find somebody that like on your own power and you are married to them and you're dating them, I hope you would not volunteer to take their stuff, that even though they don't have a place to stay, and say, we're going to sell your stuff on Facebook Market.
Right.
Like it just shows from the jump that you wasn't as open, in my opinion, to letting Carla into your world while you have all the criticisms of her world.
Right.
Like, dude, you get what I'm saying, Blair?
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Why did I take to Reddit to ask for a favor? I never begged anyone to do anything.
Okay.
Because I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, considering I've been reading and listening to people's trash talk, all of us, for the last 6 months.
Okay.
I felt like it was kind of earned. Luckily, 98% of the folks on the thread were super supportive and cool.
Okay.
I also took the time to thank everyone, single person, answer questions, and address criticism, which took a ton of time out of my day.
Thank you, Juan. I'll be okay. He wants a pat on the back there. Okay.
I'll address it just because he wrote a paragraph about it. I mean, Juan, I don't take this wrong. We don't really care. Like, we come on here to do the show, to talk, have conversation. We like Married at First Sight. It was your season, so we talked about you. The next season, we'll talk about the next group of people.
Yeah,
like, it's not personal.
Actually, truth be told, I don't think he's talking about us in that comment.
Okay.
I think he's talking about Reddit.
Okay, but in our video, we said he begged down at the Reddit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of like, try not to take it so personal. But even though, and I hate when people say that, when it's like you're talking to me. How can I not take it personal?
He have every right to feel what he feels.
So it's just kind of like, we hear you on, but it's, to us, it's not that deep. And sorry if it offended you.
Look, I'm not apologizing, but I'm just saying. I'm saying that he have every right to feel how he feels, the same way as I have every right to feel what I feel.
Absolutely, he does.
So if he feels like, that he should get a pat on the back because he took time to basically respond to every person, he feels like he earned the right to ask people to vote for him because people been talking trash about him for 6 months, guess what? Albeit, yeah. I'm all for it.
When I signed up for the show, I was just as hopeful as any of the other participants, but I also had extremely realistic expectations, and I wasn't going to let anything or anyone kill my vibe. I'm sure all of us, Carla included, and anyone that signs up for any reality TV experience is also open as myself to doors those experiences may open, and rightfully so after months and months of criticisms, judgments, etc. Not complaining, by the way, because that's what we all signed up for.
And this is the only thing I got to say to that, right? Just because you're on a show and things of that nature, you don't think that you earn the right to like enter to that Married at First Sight community and be like, well, since y'all been criticizing me, the least thing that y'all can do is vote for me. If you've been receiving criticism by like these people, why would you ask for their support? Especially since they're not going to give it. And like that way, I'm just gonna say that off top, right? Especially since a lot of people feel like, hey, just this sentence right here. When I signed up for the show, I was just as hopeful as any other participants, but I also had extremely realistic expectations. I mean, it's a real experiment, even though you're calling it socially experiment, right? And I wasn't gonna let anything or anyone kill my vibe. What do you mean by that? Right, I understand you had a whole laundry list of things of why Carla was killing your vibe, her attitude behind the scenes and things of that nature. But what's the point of having all these thoughts and writing me? I'm not an expert on the show. like my whole thing is I want to see someone feel 100% not feeling the vibe, not feeling a spouse, right? Still being respectful, not in a Michelle way to where they close down, but actually being open to the social experiment. That's what I mean by you didn't give yourself fully to the social experiment, right? To where you be like, you know what, Pastor Cal, Dr. P, or Dr. Pepper, I'm not feeling my wife, right? The vibes I feel like she's killing my vibe. I feel like she's kind of mean behind the scenes. Also, I'm really not into astrology. Can you help me see the person more than I'm seeing the flaws?
Yes.
Like help me see so I can give myself and also the participant a equal chance. Because at the end of the day, I can still say no, but I don't want us to live together for these 4 to 6 to 8 weeks and things of that nature. And I got all these things that I'm suppressing. But when it's time for us to build intimacy, I'm talking to Dr. P and I'm like, oh yeah, of course I try that. But when I actually do it, I'm over here laughing, I'm not taking it seriously, right? Whole time I'm meeting with Dr. Pepper, oh yeah, we're trying and things like that. Carla's such a nice person, but whole time I got all these things of why I don't like her. I cook and clean 75% of the time.
But I think that goes into our conversations when we talk about toxic positivity.
Yeah.
And how toxic positivity doesn't allow you to actually gain the full like vulnerability of what it means to go through the human experience.
Facts.
And the human experience is disagreement.
Yes.
It's happiness, it's joy, it's sadness, it's disappointment. It's all the things, it's all the feelings. So when we're talking about I didn't let anyone kill my vibe, that's not what we're trying to say.
No.
You can definitely go through life with a positive disposition and a positive outlook on things and also address things head on. And that was the thing of what all the great examples that you gave of addressing things head on to give it a fair shot, you know? Moving on.
Yeah, let's move on to these final 2 paragraphs.
Finally, to all the haters talking about I'm a wannabe entrepreneur businessman.
To me,
I have worked extremely hard for everything I have. I bust my tail every day. I have a 6-figure job plus uncapped commission. I also have a company called Franco Millwork Lab and Design, which has done $469K in sales in the first quarter of 2025. And I also have the app, which was a vision that I had and pursued, unlike most people that are too afraid to chase their dreams. Believe me, I make sacrifices, but I don't struggle.
Congrats. Keep going.
My intention with this response is not to put Carla down. I know a lot of you love her, and I think that's awesome. My intention is to clear up why we didn't jive from my perspective. That is what I observed in 8 weeks, and I was only responsible for making an assessment of the stranger I was matched with in order to make a decision, not to bring up all of these things to try to change them. Again, I think Carla is a great person. I think her family is great, and I wish Carla nothing but the best.
And that's the thing about it when Blair talk about toxic positivity.
Best things in life.
Yeah,
yes.
Right. and that's the thing that I don't understand about the toxic positivity part, right? The thing about it is you talk about how you gave me a laundry list of things you don't like about her or why you couldn't be married to her, right? And you knew throughout this process that you wasn't connected with her purposely. Like that's facts. Right, because as Blair said, she told you what would actually push forward the marriage and things like that. You chose to withhold it because you said it will complicate things, right? I don't understand in the show, even though people have the right to say whatever they want to say, that you still going to say, hey, can we still be friends? Knowing that from my perspective, that you robbed her from an experience. You robbed yourself from an experience and things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, you know what would happen? A natural friendship would come if you put yourself fully into the experiment. Because you know why? You will be in the experiment, you will go to the experts and tell them what you have and what's wrong with the person, and there will be some type of conflict and resolve. And I believe the person that you would have been married to, not just Carla, but whoever, if I'm married to you and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm having a problem with. You telling me this is what you're having a problem with. And we both put our 100% foot forward into trying to get this marriage to work. And at the end, we both say no. I think at the least we both would be like, I can respect that you tried for me.
And even be able to have the conversation like, look, we talked to the experts about the things that really were a struggle for me to get past. And at the end of the 8 weeks, I just find that I can't get past it.
Yeah.
You know?
And guess what? It wouldn't be a surprise for the partner.
Right.
Because guess what? You're walking step by step in the social experiment. Right,
but which is a real marriage.
By the way. I don't care how many times you try to make it seem like, you know, this is a show and they go for ratings and drama and stuff like that. Well, guess what? You signed up for the show.
Right.
No one listen, Married at First Sight is not a draft. They don't go around in the city of Chicago picking people up in army vans and things of that nature saying you will be on Married at First Sight. Stop it, Juan. Yeah. Right? So stop trying to make it seem like, you know what reality TV is. Yeah. No, I know what it is. I watched 18 seasons of it. You signed up for it. You know what it is.
And I want to actually address a specific sentence in the last paragraph where he said, this is what I observed in 8 weeks, and I was only responsible for making an assessment of the stranger I was matched with in order to make a decision, not to bring up all these things to try to change them. I think that you are responsible for more than that.
Yes.
I think that you are responsible for being more than an observer and an assessor. I think that you are responsible for being an active participant in your marriage.
To be married.
And I think that's where the difference in opinion comes in, when you lean more on the social experiment side than the marriage side. The experts are there to help walk you through the marriage.
They assess.
You know, they're the ones who are doing the assessing. You can absolutely assess and observe for yourself, but you're also an active participant. So,
and guess what? That's the problem that I think we're starting to see in the whole Married at First Sight thing.
The whole universe.
Yeah, listen here. I'm not just gonna put it on you, right? Even though you are my main focus today. Everybody was showing up into. Listen here. I understand we criticize the experts and things of that nature. Y'all even want me to be an expert. I can't do it.
I couldn't do it.
Right. But my thing is this. Right, and also I'm not licensed, so like stop asking me to be an expert, right. The problem that I have is that as much as we criticize the experts, let's give them respect on this. They are there when they are, right? And the times that they are there, y'all not being fully honest.
Y'all don't capitalize on their expertise.
So don't give me. I watched Alan and Madison talking therapy and this whole time, and I seen Madison say, "Oh, we're good," and I see Alan sit there and agree with her.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? The whole time I seen you over there talking to Dr. Pia, Pastor Cal, whoever you was talking to, Dr. Pepper, things of that nature, and you basically say, "Okay, I try that," even though you knew based off this laundry list, you don't know how to turn on no gas stove. Even though you knew you had a problem with her attitude. Why didn't you say that?
Yeah.
Right? Why didn't you capitalize on the experts on potentially getting out of your own way? And then maybe a genuine friendship or a genuine relationship. It doesn't have to be marriage, because you can still say no. A genuine relationship will grow from that. Because guess what? A person is just not their spirit. It's not just their spirituality. They are not just their agenda. They are not just their race. They are not just their politics. They are not just all these things. You get what I'm saying? They are made up of multiple things. And if you're only looking at the fact that she ain't got no job, facts. If you look at the fact that she only got a storage unit, facts. If you only look at it as she got a bad attitude, granted, for you, sorry, this is the person you was matched up with. That just means you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
That's what's being married about.
And you can, like you said, still say no at the end of the day.
You can still say no at the end of the day. But my whole thing is, it looked like from our POV that you did not try.
And I will say, as a viewer and who is a fan of Married at First Sight, watch multiple seasons, like the good juicy parts are really when people have real conflict and are trying to make a marriage work.
Yes.
It's not the big aha moments. It's not the big moments of, somebody getting engaged 2 times on screen, or somebody bringing their baby mama to meet their wife or whatever the case may be. So it's just kind of like, yes, those huge rating things are great for the show, great for the producers, but as a viewer who enjoys watching the show, what brought a lot of people into Married at First Sight is the fact that these are two individuals trying to make a marriage work.
And facts.
And that doesn't mean that there has to be a lack of vibes or killing of the vibes or bringing things into negativity, but it's having real honest conversations about the struggles of bringing two people together.
And let me tell you something. I know I'm on this show. We have a good community. I love our community, Blair, right? And I know all of y'all, all our friends in the comments, believe I'm perfect. Listen, let me be the first to tell you.
Darn near.
Let me be the first to tell you. You're right, right? But that's not the point, right? The point is, there's no such thing as two perfect people in a marriage.
Absolutely
right?
not.
There is things about me that is trashy, right? I'm telling you this right now, that stinks, right? There's things about Blair that is trashy, that it stinks. Because at the end of the day, hey, guess what? There's no two perfect people that get married that's like, oh, you are everything that I ever wanted. One thing that you learn, listen, I'm not going to say never, but it's very small. One thing that you learn is that, oh, I didn't know that I can love someone like this. That doesn't mean that it has to be negative, but it's like in my head, my person looked like this, but I didn't know that I could love someone like this. I didn't know I could be patient with a person like this. And now I realized that, oh, maybe I'm not the best matchmaker for myself, right? And I'm not saying that, hey, Juan, you got the power to choose whoever you want. Anybody who's signing up for Married at First Sight got the power to choose whatever they want. But the whole point of you signing up for Married at First Sight is to completely throw yourself into the social experiment / marriage, right? And to see, and the experts believe, and the producers believe, that if you do that, there is a high chance that you will like the person that we match you with, right? But if you come on the show married, right, and you still want to play matchmaker for yourself, then guess what? You will end up like Juan in our comments, talking about it's a reality TV show. You know what they're doing for ratings. Forget what they're doing for ratings. That's their job to do whatever they do for ratings.
Right.
Your job is to be married.
Right.
Anything else?
Couldn't say it any better.
Anything else?
Nope.
Listen, subscribe, like, share, comment. If y'all want to see the comment, it is on our Juan is down at the Reddit begging for our votes. If y'all want to respond to this, please respond. I involve y'all in this conversation. I want to hear what y'all want to say. Juan, if you're watching, I want to hear what you want to say to this video too.
Yeah, we can continue to talk.
Let's continue to talk. That's all?
That's it.
We see y'all.
Bye.